Hey guys, a lot of physical tests look at the highest force your body can produce, which is a measure of strength. This video is about testing the speed at which you can produce that force, which is a measure of power. While there are plenty of studies showing the importance of things like leg strength as you age, in some cases it's actually power that has the bigger effect on physical function and health. This video covers two tests, both are jumps. The first is a broad jump, meaning the maximum distance you can propel yourself forwards. And the second is a vertical jump, measuring how high you can jump straight up in the air. These are explosive maximum effort movements and so require a full warm-up. In the description below, I've linked to an 8-minute dynamic warm-up, which will help prepare your body for a maximum jump test. After warming up, I would still recommend you try some practice jumps, slowly increasing the intensity from 50 to 60% effort all the way up to 90% before trying that maximal effort jump. Let's start with a broad jump. Here the surface is really important. You don't want to choose anything where your feet are likely to slip. Not only will it make measurements difficult because your feet might have moved after landing, but it also leads to an increased risk of injury. The safest method is likely a long jump pit, which you would find at an athletics track, and that's because you're jumping into sand, which is quite low impact. An alternative could be grass if it's dry. Otherwise, you might use boots or cleats or a surface with a little bit of give in it, like an athletics track or flooring in the gym. At a push, I will test on a hard surface like my patio, but I train as a sprinter, so my lower body is very used to handling high impacts. You will need a tape measure and to be fully warmed up before starting. Position your toes at an obvious starting point. This could be the edge of the sand pit, a line on the athletics track, or if you've laid out your tape measure, aligning yourself with the start of the tape. On completion of the jump, you are measuring the rearmost part of your body that has contacted the ground, which is hopefully the heel of your foot and not your bottom or a stray hand. This catches a lot of people out and it feels quite unfair if you think about it. You lose the entire length of your shoe when measuring the distance, and this is technically considered a 0 centimeter jump. I like to lay the tape measure out because I can then immediately read off the distance, but if you don't have this set up, you need a way of marking your distance. If you're not in sand, you might want to use another object to mark the end of your jump and then measure back to the starting point. In terms of technique, look to set your feet shoulder width apart. An aggressive arm swing helps both backwards and forwards. I think of throwing my arms forward as I jump. Then you're looking for good hip extension, which will vary a lot based on how much time you have in the air, but really thinking about launching your body forwards. Finally, a safe landing, which is why it helps to start with lower intensity efforts and build up. For some people, the landing will pose too high an injury risk, and for those individuals, they're better off doing it in a sand pit or not at all. It's quite common for people to be assessed on a best of 3 attempts, but if this is a movement that you haven't practiced before, then you might see your distance continue to improve even after 9 or 10 jumps. For the vertical jump, you will often hear people distinguish between a standing vertical and a running vertical. For this test, we'll be using a standing counter movement jump, meaning you start in an upright position, crouch down, and then explode up into the air. Specialized equipment does exist for vertical jump testing, things like the Vertec and electronic jump mats. If you have access to them, by all means use them, but for most individuals, you'll be looking at the tip-to-tip method. This involves making 2 marks on a wall, one where you're at your maximum standing height and the other at the peak of your jump, and measuring the distance between the two. For the starting mark, you need to stand sideways to a wall, keep the heels on the ground, and reach up as far as you can with the arm nearest the wall. You're marking with the fingertips here using something like chalk, which is effectively your 0 mark on a tape measure, and anything you jump above that will then be your jump height. If you're allowed to make marks on the wall, chalk the top part of the middle finger and touch the wall at the highest point of each jump. For technique, again, a shoulder width stance is often best. Don't neglect the arm swing, and the more powerful you are, the higher speed you can handle descending into the jump and reversing the direction. This time, the lower intensity warm-up jumps also serve to help you practice coordinating the arms and touching the wall at the highest point. It also ensures you're not landing off balance, as again, this can be a high-risk exercise, especially for the ankles. As you can hopefully appreciate, a lower body power test like this can carry a high injury risk if not performed correctly. It may not be suitable for those with any injuries to the lower body, hips, or lower back, those with tendinitis, anyone with impaired balance or coordination, older individuals who may have lower bone density or mobility problems, heavier or untrained individuals who may find the forces involved are too much for their tendons and joints, or anyone who is in the later stages of pregnancy. If you're in any doubt whether these tests are safe for you to do, then please speak to your doctor. Once you've completed one or both types of tests, you'll want to know how to score yourself. I've blended various data sources to create some charts which rank jump distances from excellent down to poor for a range of ages. So this is men's broad jump. I have both centimeters and inches. This is for the general population, with the average male being able to go beyond 2 meters right up to the age of 45 or 50. For women, it's a very similar pattern, but half a meter, around 20 inches lower at all age groups compared to men. I believe they're also subject to a steeper decline over the age of 50 due to the effects of menopause. Vertical jump standards extend right out to age 70, and a sprightly 70-year-old will still outjump some people in their 20s. For the general population, a vertical jump of 70 centimeters is excellent, while some elite athletes are capable of jumping over 100 centimeters, around 40 inches. The women have a steeper decline beyond menopause, but otherwise everyone is losing power at a rate of about 1% per year. While I wouldn't consider these to be essential tests, if it's safe for you to do so, it's perfectly reasonable to test yourself every year and track your progress. Alternatively, measuring every 3 to 5 years should still allow you to measure any declines in power that you'll see with age. There is a skill element to jumping, both in the broad jump and the vertical jump. With that in mind, the differences you might see in distance or height across 5 years of measurement may be the same as you're seeing in consecutive jumps. If that's the case, you may want to test yourself on multiple days across several weeks with many attempts each day, rather than relying on a single effort or even a best of 3. One final note, when I chose these 2 exercises, I didn't appreciate quite how many people I'd be excluding, so apologies for that, and I will look into alternatives like the sit to stand power test. Thanks for watching.